Hey, folks, welcome back to the Pulse. My name is Matt, and this is Crypto Heartbeat. It is the appointed time. It is 11:30 Central Texas time. My name is Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat, and I'm back, baby. After an Easter that was amazing. We had like 36 people at the house, and my wife is a saint. It is amazing. We smoked a couple briskets and a ham, got everything looking nice. I mean, man, I did more work this weekend than I've done in a long time. But folks, we're back in action today. And what an unbelievable evening. Bitcoin crossed 30,000. What do you think about them apples? You know, there are cycles in life and there are cycles to everything. And there's an appointed time for everything. And this is the appointed time for you, my friends. You know, you've been preparing. You fought the lion and the bear in the bear market. Look at what you've got to look forward to. Everything is changing in this world, my friends. And as you look into the future, you recognize that, you know what, we may not have control, but we know the one who has control. And so that's what gives me peace to move forward boldly. And I think that's a word that you need to hear today. You need to hear whatever you are struggling with, whatever is wearing you down, whatever feels overwhelming to you. I want to say to you, move forward. Move forward. When I was a kid, I got in trouble. My dad worked nights, and of course, I'd get in trouble. And of course, my dad gets home at like 2 a.m. Right? He worked afternoon shift, and you didn't wake up until your feet hit the floor. I was on the top bunk, and my dad, when you were in trouble, you fell asleep because you had to get up for school the next morning. But my dad would grab me out of the top bunk, and I wouldn't wake up until my feet hit the floor. And boy, oh boy, you knew it was it. And you know what my dad did? My dad would take me outside and he'd say, "All right, son, you know what you did, didn't you?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He says, "You see those rocks over there?" And I grew up in Michigan. And of course, if you know anything about geology, you know about the glaciers. And the glaciers brought a lot of cobblestones. And we had a pile of cobblestones. There had to have been a couple hundred of them. And it's 2 in the morning. My dad's, got back from work and he got the report from my mom that I was causing all kinds of trouble. And he said, "Son, guess what you're going to do?" I said, "What's that?" He says, "You're going to move those rocks from there to there." It's 2 in the morning and I'm doing it. And I did that work and I sweat out there in the middle of the night and he'd sit there and watch and do his stuff in the yard. And then I'd get done and I'd come up to him and he'd say, "Oh, so you're done?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Now move them back." Folks, sometimes we need to work. We need to move forward and we need to be reminded to stay out of trouble. Sometimes we need to stay busy. I don't know what that means to you, but hopefully it means something to you. I'm thankful for it because it taught in me a work ethic. And that's what we're doing here. We're chopping wood, folks. But here's the thing, there's hope on the horizon here. There's a future with a pulse chain, with PulseX, with this money, right? And why? What is it for? Let's say I could snap my fingers and you had Lambo. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're going to talk today about the running of the bulls. But first off, we're going to say hello to you. What's up, Magnus? Your number one jockey clocky. What's going on? Hello, everyone. Crypto Pez. Hey, Matt. Green candles today. A rising tide lifts all boats. Heart's Law, number one trophy. Yellow, smiling. That's what it says on my end. Isn't that funny? It's a smiling yellow trophy. It's gold. Hart's Law is true. If you don't know what Hart's Law is when you bond things with pairs. Okay. So Hart's Law is, let's say you had something bonded, like Hex was bonded with Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's moving up, right? So we've got Bitcoin, it's the granddaddy, and then we got daddy, who's Ethereum. And then we bond with that, meaning we pair with that. Well, it moves together. And that's why we saw during the altcoin summer and all this, everything moving up together. That's Hart's Law. And that's the cool thing about being in things that are moving together, that are bonded in pairs. So you get credit for showing up. And that's what this is all about. That's what Hart's Law is all about. And I'm thankful for it because in altcoin summer, a lot of things went up. And it wasn't just, that was Brandon. He's like, "Dude, I need the invite, man." All right, let me send this over to him here. I just gave it away. I was going to do this amazing introduction of him, but of course I had to give it away. So, folks, you are going to get the blessing of having Brandon from Rags to Riches come into this stream here in a couple minutes. Give me 10 minutes, Mr. Brandon. Godfather J6, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for being here through the whole bear market. You've been bearing with us, and I appreciate that so much, my friend. You have no idea. Crypto Pez, this is the bulls, the running of the bulls. Crypto Compassion in the house. Good to see you, everyone. Come get me, aliens. Crypto doesn't seem to care about macro. You know what I think's actually going on? Come get me, aliens. Is I think that we've got this time of uncertainty, right? De-dollarization. People are, we know that people's confidence is being challenged right now. And to me, everything's a narrative. And I think that that's true about everything. And so where do people go when they're uncertain? They get rushed to things where they think there's safety. And what's the safety? A lot of times in the past, it's been commodities like gold. So what are people rushing to? Well, now they're seeing crypto as an alternative to gold, and it's been a pretty good store of value. And they're like, hey, what would you like to be in? Something that goes up a little bit, or you want to be in something that goes up a lot? And so that's why I think we're seeing such a push towards Bitcoin pumping. I think that this is going to cause this bull run to be different. It's going to have a different character to it than it did this last time because of how much institutional money has nowhere to go. And that is good for you and me if we're bonded in pairs. You know what I'm saying? If you got some ears, listen up. Good morning, fam. Texan for the win. We're going to be talking about Texan today. Our guest, Brandon from Rags to Riches, is going to come in, and he is going to provide some interesting commentary about Texan token. But we're going to lean into this one today because this is the running of the bulls. And I'm not even into the content yet. What's up, Extravagant Taste? So great to connect with you. Thanks for being here. We are en fuego. Hexy Quinn, so great to see you. It was funny. I was on a stream last night. Hexy Quinn was in there. This guy who's trolling everybody and saying he's Richard Hart's brother. That was interesting to me. AZ Electric, what's going on? Immutable, hello all. Hello, everyone. Jack Handy's here. Francis Paul's here. Hex Honcho's here. Good morning, everyone. Gunnerboat 37 finally caught one live. Hey, Matt. Hey, fam. Good to see you. John, what's going on? And Sam Kemp. Hope I can listen to this and focus on TurboTax at the same time. Yeah, just walk through the wizard, man. The wizard will guide you. Sam Kemp, thanks for being here. Ethan Chill. Hey, Fonzie voice. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a Fonzie voice today. Something's going on there. It's kind of smooth. Trying my best here. I got to kind of clear it up. Good morning to you. Uncle Will is here. Let's go. Ari from Manila, the Thrilla in Manila. Ari, good to see you. Drix coming to the stage, the heartbeat of crypto. What's going on, Drix? Good to see you. And David Lee, the guy who traveled 7.5 hours to come to my dad's funeral. Isn't that amazing? It's absolutely amazing. One of the great things about community is this byproduct. A lot of people are like, show me the money. And I get it. I mean, it is definitely the tip of the spear. But once the spear penetrates and you push the spear in further, you realize, oh, there's more here. Oh, yeah. A spear tip is real sharp. But as you push it in, it has got more to it. Now, that's kind of a weird analogy because it's like I'm being impaled by a spear. But there's more that this community provides than just the tip of the spear money. That attracts you to it. And then when a guy like David Lee, this incredible Hexican that I hadn't met in person, comes to my dad's funeral and sits there and says, hey, I'm gonna divide your pain. I'm gonna bear your burden. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Good evening from Nigeria. John, good to see you. I got your message. Hornet UK1. Just got to run shop. Hope this still in when I get back. Yeah. All right. Go. Rich Liberation, Texan, all the way for the win. Uncle Will, looks like you have some debris on your right collar. Left, right. You know what it is? So I had it's actually a damaged part of my, the wool coat because of I had one of those, lapel pins on, and I poked it through there and it actually damaged it. It's actually not a stain. It's actually damage to my jacket. I've got like 30 jackets around here. I ought to change it out. But thanks, Uncle Will. I appreciate you paying attention to the detail. Let's set the captives free. What's going on? Um, Hey, Vinny3. Hello, all. Good to see you. Flipping twit. 52 people already here. They're probably anticipating rags coming in. I staked for out 10 11. So my Texan on April Fool's Day. Hope that isn't a portend to the future. 10 11ths. There you go. Hex Rock Star. Good to see you. Alan Fizame. I saw you. I saw you last night talking with the folks on the Worst Damn Crypto Show, which is the best one with Romanian Dan. Academaciated Afternoon Heartbeat and Fam. Good to see you. Thanks for representing the Gen Xers and supporting my Gen X commentary. Susie Q. Hi, wonderful. Matt, happy good to see you. Susie Q, the greatest attitude in all of Hexico. And Hexiquin, man, we're doing something right if we got Briz, the biz with Briz. Briz, I think yeah, RG3 gets all kind of the credit as being the captain. I think Brizology is Smee. You following me on this? Remember Peter Pan, the captain? Methinks me sees a spark, a gleam, a glimmer of a plan. That's RG3. Well, Briz is Smee, his sidekick, his helper. Briz might not appreciate that, but everybody's got a role to play. And Briz is one of the original OG Hexicans from the very beginning. Came to the first meetup in a park in Los Angeles. Godfather J6, Matt and Brandon showed up for us constantly. We show up for y'all. It's community. Thanks, man. Appreciate that a lot. It means a lot. Mobius, hello all. Awesome. Barry Crump is back. Even the ever fragrant Caitlin Long is backing in Independent Texas. There you go. Wyoming will be the next to secede after the corrupt Fed blocked her crypto bank, but I suspect this to be overturned. Firestarter 88. Wow. Fell for the Richard Hart bro thing. What's going on? So this is John. John is the founder of the Ophir token, right? This is the group in the Philippines. If you're not following Firestarter 88 on YouTube, you need to be doing that. You need to check him out. He's streaming almost daily and telling you about everything that's going on. We're still in the donation phase of Ophir Crypto. And if you wanted to, maybe didn't get in on Texan, you didn't get on Pulse or PulseX, this is an opportunity for you to give a gift that's actually going to go directly to the people within the Philippines in these 3,000 to 5,000 churches. And John is an advocate for them. So this is a very philanthropic way in which you can serve people, but also you're going to get no value Ophir tokens airdrop to you as a premium for your giving. Good to see you, my friend John. Tribal Sounds is here for us, late to the party, but happy to be here. Let's go, Crypto Heartbeat. I don't associate with whack job with me, Crypto Heartbeat. Yeah, you're right. You were just there for the entertainment, as I was as well. Hexiquin, you are legitimate. That fellow is not legitimate. But God loves him anyway. David Lee with the love. Tex Hex is here. Hello, all. It's great to prep early during the bear, ready for the bull. And hopefully this is the beginning of the bull. And that's what we're going to be talking about, the running of the bulls. What is that, Pamplona? Is that where the running of the bulls is? I have to ask my Italian friends. Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah, it takes a young fella to run with the bulls in Pamplona, if you know what I'm saying. Get a Sharpie and color it in. Briz. There you go. That's what I need to do. Maybe we'll do that on stream later. Briz. Look at Briz. This is the biz with Briz. Let's run, Texan. Herd the bulls. Let's go. Hey, we're bonded in pairs. NT Fryer, I'm here for everyone except Rags. Well, that's good. Briz, awesome. Hexiquin, Hexforce 1. What's up, Hexforce 1? Good morning. Crypto Heartbeat, Gunnerboat 37. I definitely agree. I'm always caught up after I get to work every day, trying to work as much as I can, humanly possible, to DCA. There's many people like that. They're like, what does that $10 mean, right? What does it mean? I think about Hex. In those early days, let's say you're Briz, right? And you get an extra $10 or $20 or $100. Let's use 100 because that's what Balliet Brand told me. He's like, yeah, man, you know, when you put in $100 and it turns into $1 million, that's what's so interesting about crypto. Can you imagine? You're like, no, this $100 that could get me a nice dinner out and maybe a date or whatever you do, whatever you young people do. And that you could think that, hold on, I just spent $100 on dinner with my tip. And that could have, if I waited 2 years, could have been $1 million. That's what the OG hexagons. That's what I think is keeping people alive during the bear market. They're like, I saw it happen. Is lightning going to strike again? And here I thought I was Peter Pan. Briz, bicarbonate of soda. No, Briz, you're Smee, man. Play your role. Stay in your lane. You are the man. You're the trusty sidekick, I think. Susie Q with the love. This is Firestarter 88's. So this is John. Please follow him. Give him some love. He's bringing it. He even is it Tagalog? Is that the language there in the Philippines? He even does it. He is multilingual. It is amazing. Ophir Crypto, if you want to be a part of the donation phase of Ophir Crypto, you can go to ophircrypto.com/donate. Learn more about what's going on. It's the same contract as Texan. Some changes, but of course, it has all the wonderful tokenomics of staking for up to 22 years, and it will be a part of what we do with Freedom Swap and the Unifier token. So you're a part of that ecosystem. Pamplona, David Lee understands that one. All right, Gunnerbo 37. Here we go, folks. He's not only the chief executive officer. He's also the chief information officer. He's not only the chief marketing officer, he is the mayor of Sassy City. He's the commander of Couch Cushion Maintenance. He's the supreme I done told you. He is my ace in the hole. He's my Kid Creole. He's my Bob Dole. Remember Bob Dole, one arm? Yeah, that's him. He's the commander of Couch Cushion Maintenance. In the islands, he's known as King Kamehameha. He's not internationally known yet, but he is known to rock the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentle ginger giant genius, Brandon from Rags to Riches.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
How's life, man?
I couldn't be more thankful.
Good. Outstanding.
I'm super, super thankful. I had probably the best Easter of my life.
Really?
Yeah, and it was because of just the gravity of understanding. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the last 4 weeks, Steve Staggs and I have done these 2-hour streams, and basically we just talked about Jesus the whole time, which, some people can handle that, some people can't. But it led up to, Good Friday, and it's just blowing my mind. And of course, all the people, it's funny, no one really talks about it in public, but everybody sends me DMs and they're like, okay, this is just like amazing. And so all of that led up to is almost like this Lenten season, and it comes up to Easter, and it's just like, man, there's nothing like being thankful for what you've got.
Yeah.
Even in the bear market, and then not being like, well, I'm not going to be happy unless I've got millions of dollars from the next bull run. And that contentment of like, hey, it's going to be okay. That's how I felt. How about you?
I slept.
Did you?
Yeah, dude. I slept when I wanted to sleep, which was really cool.
That's rare, dude.
Yeah. I was like, okay, it's like, shoot, I'm kind of feeling sleepy. It's like 11:30 in the morning. I'm just going to lay down for a second.
There's nothing like that, man. There's nothing like or you ever like lay in the sun's coming through the window and it's just kind of warming you up and you're just like, I'm out.
Well, see, I got to be careful because if I fall asleep next to a window, I'll end up in the ER when I wake up. Yeah, got to be careful.
Well, didn't you get contacted by a new sponsor? Because my understanding is they wanted you to be the poster child for Red Lobster. Is that right?
Well, it's scary because Red Lobster's going out of business, so I'm not sure if I should take that one, dude.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they need some help in marketing.
They might.
So Rags, the running of the bulls. So this means a number of things to me. Number one, let's acknowledge what the bull is. The bull is the BS. I won't describe it in its colorful language, but all of this stuff that we're dealing with in the world, we have to recognize is propaganda. And so I want to start with the bull not being the bull run, but the bull beep.
Okay.
What do you think about what's happening? You've been talking about on your streams for the last several days or more, well, for the last 2 years, about the BS that's going on and how upside down this world is. What's status, man?
Dude, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm just trying to cling on to what's real, whatever that is. The markets are dumb. The markets are just stupid. We've got the CPI numbers coming out, the FOMC meetings tomorrow.
Wow.
Bitcoin's pumping right now, and by all measures, it shouldn't be. And it's just it's wild, man. Wild times.
Do you think that I think this information leaks out ahead of time?
Yes.
And a lot of times that, it's already priced in when it comes out. Do you think that's what's happening maybe?
Well, I think, yeah, I think that's what's happening, but it just still doesn't make sense. The jobs numbers are still good. The economy is getting stronger, which is bad for what the Fed needs to do. So who knows what's going to happen, man? They'll probably increase again, say like 25 basis points, and then they'll probably shoot for a pause, maybe June or July.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Well, this is going to be a different bull run than has been in the past. And do you agree with that statement or not?
I think that there's a lot more upside because it's been so rough. I mean,
Yeah.
this was a crypto bubble that popped this go around.
Okay, so let's talk about the last couple
Mhm.
bull runs. The last couple bull runs, obviously, well, the most recent one, let's say, where Bitcoin hit 69,000. We had
Mhm.
altcoin summer run. We had all of this speculative run. It wasn't institutional money that drove this. It was a lot
Right.
of retail, right? And when you have this uncertainty in the market, right, and we've got, you know, we know, I think fundamentally from a macro perspective that people want yield. They
Mhm.
need growth. They need to see it. And so when I started getting into crypto and listening to guys like Raoul Pal, he's like, in the future, this is the only place you're going to be able to get yield. And of course, that's aside from Richard Hart and trustless yield. But because the addiction is to growth, and
Mhm.
you can't find it in US securities, you can't find it in emerging markets, you can't find it anywhere else, or you're limited from finding it anywhere else, like the Restrict Act, well, then what options do you have? And so, in my opinion, a characterization of this is a which is really healthy for crypto. It's bad for everything else, but it's a move towards safety and security, which potentially could have massive upside because of the volume of money that's been sitting on the sidelines that has been institutional that likely will come in as a safe haven. You think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think that the narratives of lack of accountability, I think the narratives of just being horrible stewards of our money has kind of penetrated towards the upper echelon. And Matt, you and I have had conversations with some extremely influential people, and very popular, very well known people across the world that kind of indicate that, hey, maybe Bitcoin is the way, is what they like to say.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, we've been down that path, you and I. We kind of left that path a while back. We've gone
Yep.
down a different
Yep.
one. But ultimately, it's good that people are talking about Bitcoin in that way
Yeah.
because that's going to lead them to other places and other spaces. So
Well,
I think that awakening has occurred this go around more so than others.
I mean, Bitcoin's a gateway drug. I mean, let's be honest. The
Mhm.
gateway drug into the hard stuff like Texan, right?
Mhm.
So we're kind of, I think we're the pure Coke of crypto. Am I right? Whereas,
That
you start,
Peruvian flake, we're the
yeah,
Peruvian flake
the
of crypto.
Peruvian flake. That's what it is. That's what it is. No one stomped on this with some baking soda. We're in good shape with the purity of this. But no, you're right. It's the gateway of people like, well, how do I get into this thing? Well, and I think you see that too, is gold is the gateway to a lot of people when it comes to precious metals, right? It's what is out front. But we also know that, if it's at the top of its S curve and maybe we get 10x, 20x out of Bitcoin, if you're lucky in the next run. I mean, it's funny when you've experienced and seen a 10,000x with Hex, it's hard to even, you look at that. Whereas traditional people that come in with this, the gateway drug of Bitcoin are excited, like, wow, I could double my money. I mean,
Mhm.
I remember the early days when we were trading futures. We're like, yeah, man, doubling your money is a good thing. And it's funny. It's like we've been really, really catered to in this, you know, having spoiled is the right term, right? With the kind of gains that crypto can provide. But I do think this is going to be different. I think we're going to see a lot extra come into this, and it's going to give people, once you come into this Bitcoin ecosystem and digital money and all the news that's going on about CBDCs and all of the craziness that's going on, I think you start paying attention, and we're going to have a voice in that with, Pulse Chain especially, and then, Hex and Texan and all of these derivatives, plus all the things that are going to be built on the Pulse Chain. I think we're going to be the talk of the town for quite some time coming here soon.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna. Here's what I think is gonna happen. I was watching a show on Netflix because at nighttime before I go to bed, I'll turn on a show, watch it for 30 minutes, and I'm watching the show called Heist.
Yep.
And they talk about these people who just pulled off these crazy robberies.
I watched that. The woman from Vegas. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that's so cool. The beautiful woman from Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So what was going through my head last night was, look at these people. They're being very candid and very open on camera about these things. They're laughing about it. They're kind of like gloating in a way, but it just kind of shows you that the time has a way to fix things.
Yeah.
All right. So these people, they're probably making money off Netflix right now because they're showing their likeness here. So this is what got me thinking too. I think that there's a lot of people that were turned off by the marketing efforts of Richard.
Yeah.
Well, I know everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
And we drew the line, and you said you're either on this side or that side, and it is what it is. It's just what Richard was doing, and that's how he was operating to market Hex, which was very effective in my opinion.
Yep.
I think that Pulse Chain launches. I think that Richard changes his tune as he's been doing since January 1st.
Yep.
And I think in time, all these things go away. And a lot of that also has to do with so many new people that will be in crypto here in the next 5 to 7 years. People who are not even college age yet, who will be in college, or folks who are older who don't know anything about it. It's like you get a new lease on life, a new chance at reputation, and all that stuff will kind of disappear. And as long as Pulse Chain is what it says or purports to be, then we're going to be in a good position.
Yeah. No question about it. Look who's here, dude. Look who's here.
I know. Old Rock.
What's up, Rock Edison? It's so great to see you. It's so great when people are coming back. This is also an indicator, right? I mean, this is an indicator of what's going on. Crypto Panda's back, David Feeder's back, Gerardo's back, Rock Edison's back. Mark Rastelli will be back here before you know it. And folks, we got ourselves the exciting new bull run. And you know what I think is good is it builds character. We've built some character in this bear market, haven't we, Brandon?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about each other. We've learned a lot about how people operate in bear markets.
Yeah.
But we gained a lot of perspective because this go around, we're going to be thinking about the bull run, but we're also going to understand what happens in a bear now.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, and then I listen to guys, like Randy Halarski, and he's like, yeah, this is the 7th time I've been here. Mm-hmm. It's great to have that perspective. But folks, this is really exciting. But I want to shift to Texan for a second, Brandon. I want to talk about something I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking about all kinds of things. I'm looking for things to talk about. The running of the bulls. We're seeing, Bitcoin over 30,000. I want to remind people, I want to get back to basics for a minute, and I want you to add in some color commentary to this so that people can understand this. So there are a lot of new people that we brought into crypto through the Texas nationalist movement. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that they're first timers, and there's a lot of people who got in at the top of Hex. They came into the ecosystem, they saw Pulse, they saw Pulse X, they jumped into Hex, and they were like, man, I got in at 42 cents, and it's been, some people DCA'd, some people didn't, and, maybe sour taste from bear market. I want to remind you all of something really important. This is a very, very unique time in human history and a very unique time in the market cycles. And I didn't know Balliet Brand back in the day, Brandon. I didn't know him. I wasn't a day one Hexagon. I just saw it on a TV ad at 2 a.m. and got in 2 days before big payday. Mm-hmm. Now that's low. It was fractions of a penny at the time, but I didn't understand what it was. Okay. And so I was not able to really take advantage of it. Well, what happened to me? I saw a 25x, Brandon. And
Mhm.
every day I came home, my wife's like, that's not real money. And I had to prove it to her. And I bought my daughter a car for her 16th birthday. So my $600 turned into 15,000. That's like, for most people that are new to crypto, that is so shocking. And for me, this last time around, it was extremely shocking. And I didn't know what that was about. Then I start my channel. I meet you. You make me chug a beer on stream with you.
That's right.
And and then I start interviewing people like Ballet Brand. And I can't emphasize this so much. Now that we are founders of a token and we are seeing the Pulse chain and building something on the Pulse chain, I want to remind everybody this is DeFi. Brandon and I aren't the marketing department. We just happen to have channels, which is cool, right? We can talk about this stuff. We can tell you about what we're up to. But here's the thing. Things are not led. I mean, there's leadership is as far as, hey, what time is it? What's the temperature? We're kind of given the weather forecast, and you're very qualified for that as a meteorologist. But you have to take it upon yourself. The reason, honestly, the reason that Hex did what it did is because of this guy right here. It's guys like Briz. And Briz just happens to be in the channel in the chat right now. But if it wasn't for people like Briz and RG3 and Hexo and Maddie and Crypto Coffee, and there's a whole bunch of other people, Hex wouldn't have gotten to where it was going. It was not Richard just putting on the top hat and telling you how to, say, I'm sorry. That helped in the beginning. But people took their own responsibility for the community and for Hex itself. And I would say that is fundamentally what makes crypto work. Because if you recognize this is an opportunity for us to decree our own value. It is actually a thumb in the eye of the man, because there's no centralized organization, there's no marketing department, there's no business, there's no address, and there's nothing but you and the contract. But if you don't tell people about it, if you don't talk about it, if you're in the TNM and you don't talk to your friends at meetings, you don't communicate, in a way, I imagine, did Ballet Brand realize when he put $100 in that it would turn into $1 million? I would say very, very few people even knew that, but they had the faith to believe, and they said, you know what? It's going to be fun in the process, whether it goes 10,000x or not. Let's build into others. And I think about how much time and energy was spent by Hexo, 571 days of streaming. He took it upon himself. Richard didn't pay him to do that. That's something that you cannot buy. People have to own something. And this whole idea of tokenizing communities that we're doing is about giving a gift to people. Some will take advantage of it, some will own it, and some will not. What do you say to that fundamental about DeFi and what we're doing here? Because I think a lot of people look at us and are like, you guys have these channels you're talking about all the time. You do the work. And I have people telling me all the time, what are you going to do for marketing? And I say, I don't work for you and nothing. And I know that they don't like that. What do you say to all that?
Yeah, we're pretty much the same as they are, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got channels and we're going to talk about it. And people show up every single day and they listen to what we have to say. But if you're showing up every day, listening to what we have to say, and think that things are going to go well just because we have channels, that's wrong. It actually starts with you. It starts with the individual. And then it goes out from there. So we're all on the same boat here. So everybody has to participate in some way every single day. Just take an action. Take an action that moves it forward. One little small mention or one post, or just talking about crypto, for God's sakes, with somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's a harsh and stark reality that many people have to face that come from the outside crypto world when they come into in places like this, where we realize that it's the individual efforts and not a collective centralized effort.
Gotcha. Is my audio low for you, Brandon?
Nope.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Elijah says, have you all heard about the Texas legislator looking to create a gold-backed crypto? Hey, Brandon, have you heard about that?
Oh, I've heard about it.
Are you doing a stream on that?
I am doing a stream on that. I was trying to get it knocked out yesterday, but I couldn't. So Walrus, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Walrus wanted to stream with me on it, so we're lining that up.
Okay, that's awesome. So be on the lookout for Brandon talking specifically about this, Elijah. But let me just share this with you. A gold-backed stablecoin, having stablecoins that are stable is a good thing for crypto, right? And if you think about Texas doing it, I look at this not as competition at all. This is actually a really good development for the state of Texas, but also for the state of crypto in Texas and beyond. Because what is a gold-backed stablecoin? Look at Luna, right? A algorithmic stablecoin that failed, right? And we look at a number of other things that even USDC. What is it backed by, Brandon? Isn't it like
It's
some
75% T bills and the rest cash, purportedly.
Yeah, exactly. And so what better, security? But here's the interesting thing about gold back. It's just a narrative, folks. Why would you want to do gold back? Because it's the gold standard of wow, it's secure. But at the end of the day, you don't really care as long as you can redeem it for, the value that it holds. What I like about this is the fact that Texas legislators talking about crypto in a positive way and then pushing back on CBDCs. So, in my opinion, this whole idea of a rising tide lifts all boats, this is just another indicator of it. And so I'm a fan. There's not one ring to rule them all. The cool thing about it is what are stables? Really, in some respects, Brandon, stable coins are an interim solution to a desire to go between crypto and fiat. There will be a day when you're going to accept the straight up crypto. Like you'll accept Texan token or you'll accept tax or you'll accept something versus having to go to stables. There will always be a need for them, but there's a need right now because the bridge, people are holding in their mind two big things, the analog of cash and the requirements of cash in your daily life. I remember back when the internet had started, you couldn't do anything online. You couldn't buy anything online. Now you can do everything online. This is a necessary bridge that will always exist, but it will become less important as places like Texas have essentially auto converts and you can choose what crypto you accept. And some people will accept Texan, some will accept tax, some will accept SHIB. So there's a role for it.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too. Some people are a little bit afraid of what that legislation in Texas actually does represent. And it's like, you can give human beings a really cool instrument to do really, really good things, but it can also be used to do really, really bad things.
Yeah.
So, anything that is centralized, anything that has a lot of government intervention really tends to scare people. And, I don't want people, especially in the crypto community, you see this on Twitter, legislation submitted in Texas, gold back stable, you got to look at the details. You got to see what they're actually thinking. You got to see if their understanding of what crypto is solid, which most of the times legislatures don't have that understanding. So, and then the other thing is who helped them write that? What influences and what biases do those people have? Yep. And we know that Bitcoiners are not friendly to the rest of cryptocurrency. They just aren't. So, we'll go over all that. So,
Awesome. So we look forward to that one. And then Frank, we get this question a lot. People are asking us, they say, well, the God whale is in Texan. And that is true. I've had a lot of questions about it. One of the things I think is really cool about the God whale being a massive holder of Texan is the fact that, and the number one holder, is that in the communication that we've had, and we do not know who the God whale is, so I want to make sure that's very clear, is really the encouragement that the God whale gave to the desire to address what's going on in this world from a very macro perspective.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that there is good and there is evil, and we are on the side of good. And what I mean by that is we have the choice. We can choose the side of good. And a big part of what we're doing with the Texan token is about how do we help the people of Texas demand their voices be heard? And there's no better way than saying, hey, you can decree your own value in community. That gives you the resources to change the narrative. And so I see that as an encouragement. But here's the thing: you can't expect anyone to do any work for you. And you know, I'm thankful where we find ourselves, but there's more going on here than just one Lambo. I mean, this is the first time in crypto where a cryptocurrency has been tied to some kind of a political outcome. It's the first time where there's an endowment contract where you not only can get yield, but you can scrape without penalty. These are unique things, but it's only as good as the story that you're able to tell to the next person, or that we can, or anyone can, because it's an immutable contract. There's no admin keys. It's out there. And if Brandon and I disappear, it still stays out there. And if front ends go down, it's still there.
Yeah, I would say that one of the best times to participate in a cryptocurrency is when the spotlight is not on that cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And Matt, you and I have knowledge and understanding and information about what the future is going to look like in this small little ecosystem. And all I got to say is that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. It's going to
Well,
be cool.
and a lot of this stuff is tied to, folks, let's recognize we're standing on the shoulders of great folks who have led the way. Richard Hart, if he wasn't so dedicated and an innovator and focused, we would not have the potential of the Pulse Chain launch, moments from now.
Mhm.
This is enabled. Do you know how many people, and Rags, let's guess, how many people are associated, and this is to the like Telegram and Discord people, take every single project that exists that is going to launch on the Pulse Chain,
Mhm.
and every single person that's associated in some way with any of those projects. How many people did Richard Hart activate? What's your guess when it comes to that group of people that cover those 150 projects? It's a lot.
How many people did he activate?
Yeah, like I mean, we have 32 people that have been like directly activated because of what Richard said he was going to do with the Pulse Chain. I mean, think about how much times 150.
Yeah, lots. A huge community.
And guys, that's the legacy for Richard, in my opinion. This community that's being built. Okay, so people get rich, great. He said when I talked to him that one time, he said, and tell me what you think he meant by this. He said cryptocurrency is the only thing that could increase your freedom and sovereignty and get you rich at the same time.
Mhm.
What did he mean by that? Why did he think that cryptocurrency in the form that we know it as would increase freedom and sovereignty?
Because you have power over where your money goes, and you're the only one that has access to it. That's the sovereignty part.
Yep. Complete control. And that's scary for some people. I mean, they're so used to a middleman being there. They're
Mhm.
so used to someone getting in the way. Yeah. Texas Life, good to see you. Late, but I'm here. Good morning. Briz, make Texan business cards and pass them out on parked cars. There you go. It's stuff like that, like all these different ideas. And talk about Briz being creative. You see all the stuff that he's made with with the AI art generators and all the stuff as it relates to the dolphins and whales and crabs and all that stuff. This is, you can put your creativity on it. And there's so many things that this creates outside of it. You mentioned people could create their own businesses around the Pulse Chain, very traditional ones.
Yeah, businesses, you've got marketing, you've got news websites, you've got all sorts of things that here's the opportunity, go grab it, go take it.
Yeah, yeah. Liberty or Death says, I thought Richard was full of BS when he would say 10,000x is possible. I'm glad I took some risk and took action. Good message, take some action. Well, and that's the thing I think is interesting. I remember people asking him, remember when he drove across Europe and he was talking to all those people and they were asking him about Pulse Chain. He's like, do you think the Pulse Chain can do a 10,000x? And he's like, I don't see why not. It's, it's programmed to do that. Guys, just think about that for a minute. I never understood. I never experienced what that's like. I mean, even the people that got in at day one, what are they up like 300 to 600% still?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's nuts, folks. It is nuts. People are going on a cruise. The Hex cruise.
Yeah.
People enjoying the mad gains, even in the bear market, man. Look at this, Nicholas Corte. I don't work for you and nothing. Thank you for that. You've made my morning with that comment. Fantastic. Yeah, T-bills. What's it holding? Absolutely. which people. Yeah, you just never know. It's all the narrative, folks. And that's the thing. This running of the bulls is the running of people's mouths. This is the BS. This is the story. This is where propaganda fits in. But here's the thing. What are you going to associate yourself with? Why did so many people attracted to Richard? Why was I attracted to him? Because he was speaking the truth. What are we attempting to do here? We're trying to give gifts to people and them speak this truth that you can create with your own voice. Do you realize that, Brandon? When you talk about Texan, you create value.
Mm-hmm.
You literally create value. And that's how the world was created, by the way, just so you know.
Mm-hmm. Spoken into existence.
It's exactly right, right? 320 to 10K. There you go. Why was Rags to Rich's Telegram chat made private? Let's answer that right now, once and for all.
I don't work for you, so you don't need to know.
Don't you have like a rule like you have to pass the test in order to make it in?
Yeah, like I think we locked that Telegram group down like a year ago, literally, maybe longer. And in fact,
I'm not even allowed in.
No, I tell my admins to remove probably 50 people. Well, actually, I remove about 50 people a month that aren't active. So I'll open it back up when we washed everybody out. Yep.
That's you're so great at withholding approval. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Rock Edison says I've made 100,000 of Monopoly money on testnet since V3 since the stream started.
Yep.
That is so legit. Playing on V3. How great is that? Countries and states need a BTC-backed currency. A rising tide lifts all boats. You know what I'm excited for? Brandon, do you think we will see a country in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, whether we help them or not, that will actually decide to use True DeFi as their legal tender?
Maybe. I don't know.
What let's imagine it happen. What would be the implications of a country? Let's say that it happened like this. Let's just pick some, Uruguay or some random place. And let's say, hey, we're going to allow there to be an opportunity for people. Let's say a donation phase to some purposeful, intentional thing that the state would do, right? Maybe it's helping homeless people. You put money in, it goes to serve the homeless population. And you're going to get a free airdrop of this new legal tender currency based on how much you donated. What would the power for the people to be when the people themselves come together to embrace a system that's not controlled by the government, only facilitated in the airdrop? What would the implications of that be for, there's no Fed, right? This is completely DeFi. What would that look like for a country if they tokenized their people?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to go about this. One of the ways to go about this and the problem that we saw was what was it? Who was it? Who tokenized?
Oh,
Bitcoin?
El Salvador?
Yeah, El Salvador, they're issuing government-backed wallets. And they're giving their people free Bitcoin, but you have to download the wallet that's KYC to your name. Is that what we want?
Right.
Not really. But, if we did it the other way, one of the first things that pops in my head is, the payment infrastructure across the country is already established through a network that is already established.
Yep.
So that network is going. The government doesn't have to spend, well, at least they'd probably be able to cut out massive amounts of cost. Okay, managing money, managing infrastructure, employees and benefits and all that sort of thing. That's gone. So that's pretty interesting. I think that if their legislation and policies aligned with them doing away with the centralized entity, I think that you would see massive economic growth as people kind of pour in, as long as they were, there's a huge opportunity for a small country who might be third world or close to third world to flip the switch and be able to transform in a matter of 5 years or less, man. If he could get or she could get legislatures on board with creating crypto-friendly legislation as well. There's massive opportunity here.
Now, imagine if it was the state of Texas, which becomes a republic and is the 9th largest economy in the world, does something like that.
So here's the thing is, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's business, if there's something new out there and you're one of the first movers, you can take over the world. And you might not take over the world the first 10 times you try something new, but the 11th time is when you hit it. There's very low risk in trying to adopt this sort of policy right now.
Yeah.
Because we're so early, and I hate saying so early because all the crypto bros say, "Oh, we're so early." But it's true, man. I mean, it's like this is not going away. The trajectory of fiat currency is diminishing, and a new trajectory of digital currency is transforming the world right now. So we're not going to get more cash in society. We're going to get less, and we're not going to get less digital assets. We're going to get more.
Yep.
So, smart politicians, smart legislatures, and the people who have the ability to lead others and inspire and teach others so they can understand, those are going to be the real winners, man. Those are
Yep.
going to be the real winners. And hopefully those people are in Texas.
Well, I want people to see an analogy or a metaphor, I suppose. Let's say Brandon and I find a gold mine, right? So we're in my backyard, or we go out into some land, and we find a gold mine. And dude, like, there are veins of gold that are like 6 feet wide, and they're just packed. Okay. And you and I are like, oh my gosh. And you and I are the only two people on planet Earth that know, hold on, this is a massive amount of gold. And we say to people, all right, anyone that hears my voice can come, but you have to come and get your shovel and your pick. And you got to bring your buckets, and you got to bring whatever it is, but you can come, and you can chip away at it. But it's your effort, it's your time, it's your pickaxe, it's your bucket, it's your all of those things. That's essentially what this is. I imagine the old gold rush when they found gold in California, and people were like, well, who's going to go out and try their hand at picking at this stuff? And when they went into the rivers of California, they were picking up like
Chunks.
Yeah, like bird's egg size nuggets out of those placer deposits that came out of those rivers. Well, that time is over. I mean, you can go pan a little bit of gold in California, but you can't make a living doing it for the most part. And so that's it feels a lot like that analogy. Do you see it that way too, Brandon? It's your initiative. Like, you've got to be in the game.
Yeah. What do people have to lose? What do you have to lose? Ask your neighbor that. Ask your neighbor who FUDs crypto all the time, who comes up to you when you're going out to your car, and he's out of his car and he has this smug little look in his face. He's like, hey, how's crypto? I heard about FTX. And he's just kind of like rubbing it in your face indirectly.
Yep.
It's like, dude, why don't you, instead of, playing golf 52 weeks out of the year, and instead of spending $300 a weekend on eating out, instead of maybe it's a friend who spends $300 on Air Jordans, like, dude, why don't you just take some of that money and why don't you just put it in? It's extremely low risk right now. What do you have to lose? And people are just so worried about being comfortable, and they don't realize that you can go make money anywhere. You can make the money back that you lost. So it's huge opportunity. You can't impress it on people enough, just because it's human behavior, man. You're not going to make people take risks that don't want to.
You know why this is why it's been so attractive, and why Richard Hart's been so successful, is because of what you just said. That neighbor who's the surgeon, or he's the doctor, or he's the lawyer, he's already made his stuff and he's comfortable in that situation. He plays golf 52 times a year. And you know what's interesting? What I love about this is the meek will inherit the earth. If there is a transfer about to happen, right? If this is transferring of wealth into hands of people, you know who's paying attention? The hungry, the people that are struggling, the people that have had a hard time. They're like, is this possible? And I think that that's where it all stems from, is that why are there this rollicking band of pirates and hacks? Because it's a group of people, and Richard Hart had the right story to tell. This isn't for the bankers. This isn't for the hedge fund. This isn't for the silver spoon boys. No, they're almost blinded to the fact. And you think about this, think about that rich guy in your neighborhood, Brandon, who's like, yeah, I'm such big time. He's driving his fancy cars and all that stuff. Richard said it before, and I'll say it again. One of these days, you're going to wake up and these crypto bros that you thought were loon birds will own everything. And I don't mean everything, but the point is this transfer is massive. And for those that hear it, hear it. But the only way, I don't go after my doctor friends anymore. I'm like, knock yourself out. You go cut somebody up. I'm going to go talk to somebody who is living on the edge of life, and it's going to be transformative to them, and it's going to free them from debt slavery, hopefully. And in this process, that's what I love about it, is that the people that are paying attention aren't generally the hedge fund managers.
You can't save everybody, man.
Right. Freddie
And-
Quotes is here.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? What do you have to say to Freddie?
Well, I was supposed to go somewhere, Freddie, this weekend, but I can't. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. When people first encounter Richard Hart, it's a shock to the system, as the truth hurts, and nobody wants to be disabused by their concept of crypto. Yeah. Well, and Richard Hart's pretty good at rubbing people's nose in it. Yeah. When you've crapped on the dining room table, he's going to rub your nose in it, if you know what I'm saying. DJ and Dougie Peach in the house. What's going on? Look who's here. Sodman. What's going on in the chat? Oh my gosh. What is up? These guys are big fans of yours. Tokenizer people. Yeah, Rock. Tokenize, man. Think about what that is. So our team is tokenizing communities. And the first one, obviously, is the Texas Nationalist Movement and the people of Texas and people who believe in freedom and sovereignty across the world. The second one is Ophir Crypto, ophircrypto.com. 3,000 to 5,000 churches in the Philippines that are serving people that are in poverty. It's much more of a philanthropic tokenization than a political tokenization, but it accomplishes the same thing. And then what are the next three, Brandon? Those next three are going to be very exciting because people are decreeing their own value in community. And that's all really Richard and Hex did it the hard way, because they had to organically grow a community that saw, unity together and community together. Whereas the people that we're talking about already have trusted relationships and they already have a cause. And so coming alongside them, it's a lot easier to get that group of people tokenized than it is to just randomly go, hey, do you like my doggy coin logo?
Well put.
Yeah. All right, folks. At this point in time, Ron Paul should just walk up and floor Joe Biden off the pedestal and lead the free world. Ron Paul's getting up there in age. I'm a big fan of Rand Paul, honestly, with what he's done with Fauci and going after him. He's been right. And, I'm glad that there are people like him out there. That he's a rare breed, somebody like him.
He is a rare breed, and the things that he says, you wouldn't expect a politician to say, but he's unapologetic, and it's true.
Yeah.
It's true what he says. Yeah.
No, that's right. Jack Houston, speaking of legislature, it seems like no brainer that the candidates for next president election would be pushing crypto friendly messages. No brainer platform that reaches voters on all sides. Yeah, there's still a lot of people. What Elizabeth Warren to me is the literally the devil incarnate when it comes to crypto. I mean, we need to do everything we can, and there's some folks in Florida, in the Florida legislature, that are mounting a very focused effort to remove her from her Senate position. And I think that it couldn't happen fast enough.
The people just need to do what's right. People need to do what's right and not apologize for it, guys. Just do what's right here. The Federal Reserve needs to be disbanded. There has to be somebody with balls to stand up with a chart and say, guys, what's changed? Nothing. We need to freaking do something about it. And you see some of the nicest, calmest, coolest people out there. Who was it? I was watching the documentary about Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
And Julian Assange and all those folks. And there was a country, I forgot what country, but it was in Iceland. Yeah, Iceland, right? The very nice kind of aristocratic upper middle class people took to the streets because there was a run on the banks and the banks failed. Money is the one way to turn somebody who's completely quote unquote well put together into an absolute animal. And
Yeah.
and how come they are able to keep the truth from so many people for so long? And I think it's just because they're using the coffers, the nation's coffers, to keep people fat, dumb, and happy. And it's not going to last forever. It's just not, So it's that's step one. We got to get some politicians behind that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sodman says, thank you for Steve Staggs. I was so blessed on the last stream, eye-opening and great opening of the relationship with Jesus. Sodman, Steve Staggs has been such an encouragement to me. And of course, we've been talking for a long time. And I just said, hey, let's do this on stream in front of people. You know what's interesting about Steve, Brandon, about this topic? You know what he would say?
Hmm.
He would say, this is the upside down world at its finest, right? So, what is the upside down world? The upside down world is essentially the lie that was told at the beginning, that there's not enough to go around, right? And that God is not abundant, right? And that we have to extract value, and you need to be a middleman, and you need to get yours and win Lambo and step on people's head and don't consider them, hostilely take them over. And what we're seeing in these cycles of the human experience has been told for eons and eons. What is it? People, they literally will take advantage. I mean, this Cain slew Abel, right? This whole thing about destroying and getting yours really at the detriment and the destruction of others. And this is the system that we live in. And I think what's really interesting about what crypto represents is I think so many people are being attracted to something that is so fresh and so new, but it's telling a story that is really counterintuitive. On one hand, the young crypto bro goes, man, I'm going to get rich and I'm going to be 25 and I'm going to be retired. Woohoo. Now what are you going to do? Right. And then you got a 50-year-old guy like me. He's like, yeah, well, what am I going to do? And what do I care about? But I would challenge everybody to think about this and say, hold on a second. Is there really a way? That's why I use this term like a gold mine. You can come and pick it out if you want. Are you going to do it? Would you take that initiative? The same thing is true here for all of this in crypto. Is you got to ask yourself, hold on, this is new and this is fresh and it's different, but what makes it work? What makes it work is just like the golden goose. The golden goose lays golden eggs, but you cannot cut the goose open to get the eggs out, right? These things come in time and you have to wait for them, but it produces those. And the same thing is true for this idea of decreeing value in community. You have to participate in the community and bring value, because what are you doing when you participate in an immutable contract? You actually take your proxy for labor, which is actually your creative ability. My dog does not have the creative ability that we as humans have. And I believe that's God-given. We are actually taking the sweat of our brow and we're saying, this represents the sweat of my brow. It's paper, it's gold, it's whatever it is. This is your creative ability to draw an elephant. This is your creative ability to dig a ditch, to drive a truck, to sell a product. It's creative ability that is then reduced down to a representation, which is a proxy for your labor, and you're committing it to a common pool. That common pool gains weight and girth, and it becomes a flywheel. And we can do that outside of the government. That's DeFi. Well, not everybody sells at once. Well, that's true about every asset. Not everyone sells their house on the same day. That's why houses have value. But if you were to say, how much is my house worth? Well, I would say it depends on what people will pay for it. You could estimate based on your square footage, but that doesn't mean that somebody's going to pay that amount. So there's a market that's created. But realize this, folks, it only has value because you've put something of yourself into it. And that's true about the marketing and the communication, telling the story. It's you're speaking it into existence. That's why Richard says this. And I don't even know if he understands the gravity of what he's saying. If you want a picture of an elephant, you can draw one. My dog cannot draw a picture of an elephant. That is what we monetize. Everything in this world is a proxy of human labor. There's nothing else. And so if you're willing to put in the effort, you can reap the reward. If we do that in community together, we set the captives free. If you have ears to hear, listen up.
Correct.
So Sodman, thanks for that comment. I appreciate that a lot. Who is Ron Paul? Who is John Galt? That's the big question. All right. Let's see. Barry Crump. We need to realize that the Fed is not a government organization. It is a private club that is run by banksters and own everything and have brought. Yeah. Well, and this is the scarcity model. We're breaking the back of the banks. We're
But
breaking the back of the centralized players.
there's a reason that it exists.
Yeah.
Because the government, would they be more apt or less apt to go to war if they knew they didn't have a Federal Reserve? Be less apt. Why? Because they can't pay for it without printing money. What about social programs? What about every stupid government spending anything ever? They're not going to do it because they don't have the money to pay for it. So it enables these people, these politicians, to do whatever the hell that they want with no accountability at all.
Well, they
So
don't
yes,
think they're going to push back.
no. So yes, the Federal Reserve, quote unquote, is private, but technically it's bullshit. Sorry,
Yeah.
Matt, had to
It
say
is. It is. We're running of the bulls. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Extravagant Taste says, I like my beer cold and sleepy. Yesterday, my Bud Light woke up, and so I threw it in the trash. You know what? I'm not a stock guy, but if I was a stock guy, I'd be shorting Transheiser-Busch.
Transheiser-Busch, man. It's rough.
I'd be shorting that stock. All right, let's talk about Texan before we go. So, folks, if you don't know about Texan, Texan is the first endowment contract on the blockchain. It is going to be on the Pulse chain as well. You're going to get a copy over there because it's launched on Ethereum. We launched about 90 days ago. It was on January 6th when we launched it. And you can take a look at that that chart if you would like. But Brandon, will you share with folks what makes Texan token unique when it comes to its tokenomics?
You know, the thing that I like about Texan is its simplicity first and foremost. Okay. So if you want time locking, you've got time locking. You have the ability to do that. If you want a way to remove economic energy from that time locking, you have a way to do that as well through scraping. So what does that say? Well, you don't really need derivatives when it comes to Texan, because derivatives give you the opportunity to scrape off interest. Well, that's already kind of built into Texan via scraping. You get a 5% base interest rate per year. Every single year after that, you get a multiplier that kind of ratchets up. There is no bigger pays better. It's very fair. It's longer pays better. So everybody can get that same benefit if they decide to hold longer, which is pretty cool too. I like that. I like the fact that, there's 100 trillion that could ever exist. Will we get there? I don't know. Now, why is that? 3 trillion were launched. Okay. Of that 3 trillion, we had, what are we at now? We're about 70% of that has been staked. When that's staked, that's removed from circulating supply. So now we're like 830 billion, I believe, that is actually circulating, and we haven't even hit the bull market yet. So that's really cool too. If you want to talk about an actual crisis in terms of supply, it's actually built into the Texan contract, where a lot of people say it could happen, but it could really happen depending on that supply. So I like all of these things. I like the simple interface, the front end, to be able to go to texan.cc/stake. Very simply shows you to the decimal how much Texan that you would get after how many years. Now, why is that? Because we don't have to recurse through days. It's an arithmetic table that we actually posted in the white paper there that shows you exactly how much your annual return, which is your daily rate times 365.25. So it's all just very, very simple. It's powerful. It's strong. Matt, go to the global stats there for me. Let's check it out.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I think we hit, definitely over 4,000.
Yeah.
We may have broken 5,000. Yeah, we're up at 5137 the total stakes.
That's crazy, because what was it, about 3 weeks ago we were about 4,000, Matt.
Yeah.
So that's good. 5,137 stakes. That represents, Matt, of our total holders, it's about 25% of our total holders are staked right now.
That's incredible.
25%. Yeah.
That's incredible. And if you think about what staking does is, the base rate is 5%. People are saying, all right, at this 5% rate, and as it increases over time. So if you go to the white paper, you go to the very bottom here, you see this chart, and this is the table that's in the contract. That's why, different from Hex. Hex has a T-share rate, which is determined by day because of penalties, and each day when the timer flips over, you have a rate. Well, the reason that these longer stakes cost more of gas fees is because it has to recurse through the number of days. So longer stakes cost more gas fee. We wanted to avoid that, and we wanted to have no inflation rate. So that's why you see it set up this way. So when you say it's simpler, yeah, it's simpler intentionally. But we wanted to also exceed compounding interest. And so when you start at a base rate of 5%, some people will be happy with that. And the reason that it's like an endowment is because of the scraping function. An endowment in a nonprofit organization is where you lock up your investments, right? So you take and get donations, you put it into an account, and then you invest that. It creates investment income, and that's what covers your operations. So in my world, in the nonprofit space, everybody wanted an endowment that covered their operations. And so some of these big universities like Harvard, they could basically make Harvard free for every student because they have so much interest income that comes off of their endowment that they could cover everything. And so this is really about sustainability. So we wanted to take the concept of an endowment and put it in the hands of individual people. You have unlimited stakes. You could literally create as many as you want. You could say, hey, I want to do this for grandkids. You could go out 22 years. Well, if you add all of these up on this yield curve, from the first year to the 22nd year, that's 1,881% without any price appreciation. So in a way, what people are doing is they're saying, hey, where are we in the cycle? Because I don't want to be naive and say people aren't in crypto to make money. They're in crypto to make money. But what we decided to do was, if we give you this ability at no penalty to scrape off your interest, you're likely going to lock it up for longer. And what's the beauty of that? Well, it props up the price because it creates stability, because not everybody sells at the same time. That's the whole essence of what makes this trustless yield so powerful. You couple that with community, and then you add on top of that the potential of birthing a new nation, and bar the doors. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a simple thing. The thing that I like too is we have encouraged people not to participate in this. The people who are the speculators,
Yep.
okay, the people who aren't in it to win it. They're just in it for a quick buck. We've seen those guys come into the contract. We've seen them extract value, and we've seen them get out. But what we have also seen, Matt, which is pretty crazy to me, is the amount of stakers are increasing by quite a bit as compared to the amount of wallets that we actually have. So it's very, very exciting here.
Well, and I think we started with an audience that was probably the best educated in crypto. The reason that we wanted to airdrop people who are in Pulse and Pulse X is because of that, because they understood the benefits and power of staking for the long term. But this is funny. So Rock Edison says, what about price depreciation over 22 years? Well, especially if you compare it in fiat currency of the dollar, you're absolutely right. You think about this future. Well, what is everyone kind of hoping and speculating? I'm assuming, and tell me if you think this is true or false.
Mm-hmm.
I think as time goes on, we're going to see less paper fiat and more digital currencies and assets. True or false?
I don't think that's out of the realm of anybody's understanding. Yeah, true.
Well, that's what everyone's talking about. So if there is a future state in which crypto becomes, here's the thing, there's too many people that are holding, this cat's already out of the bag, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins. Too many people across too many sectors are holding these things. So if you're somebody that's a traditional middleman, like a MasterCard or Visa, a traditional, banking middleman, and you want to make sure that you've got a business in the future, you're going to say, well, there are people that are in these altcoins. They don't really understand what's, truly decentralized and what's not, but they don't care. They want to process transactions. And so the real future state of this isn't what it is compared to the dollar. It's the fact that we're creating value by speaking it into existence, irrelevant of its comparison with a fiat currency. Because at some point in the future, it is the store and the value that you will literally trade in seconds through whatever conversion happens. And I think that we're going to be caught up in that digitization of money that is obviously happening right now. The Pulse chain, though, is an alternative system. And what we've preached this whole time, Brandon, and you've been super clear about, is We want to be a part of providing or at least supporting the alternative. I see that happening on the Pulse chain, a vertically aligned ecosystem where the founder and the leader believes in free speech and free movement and other things of freedom and sovereignty. It is possible in the future that if you're going to get the money from the government because of the next pandemic, you're going to have to deal with a digital ID. You're going to have to deal with social credit score. You're going to have to deal with CBDCs and a government wallet. Is it going to be perfect in the Pulse chain? Maybe, maybe not. But if we don't have the infrastructure and we don't work now, we're not going to have a whole lot of hope to have privacy in the future.
Yeah, here's what I also like. And again, I don't. I've told you this many times. I don't like talking about Richard that much because I don't want to feel like I'm clout chasing the guy. But I like the fact that he's so disagreeable.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? It's because there are going to be people, very influential and powerful people, that come to him to try to strike up deals, behind closed doors. And if you don't think that's going to happen, you need to get a reality check. And he's smart enough. He understands how things work well enough to be able to look these people in the eye and say no, and probably not only no, hell no. So that makes me feel comfortable too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And to me, we're seeing the bigger picture in all of this. I mean, it just depends on what cycle and what, where you are in life. My wife's worried about the kids going to college. You're probably thinking about how do you feed these kids, right? I mean, everybody's at a different spot, but we have to lead. And I really feel like it's so exciting to represent something like trustless yield and DeFi, because it gives me hope that there's a future that's not just heavy handed. Because if I look at things, I could get really depressed looking out there at the world right now.
Well, Academaciated asked me this. Rags, do you think your military experience opened your eyes to the nonsense that much sooner? 1,000,000%. And here's what it opened my eyes to. I sat here and listened for, how many years? 18, 19 years of my life. The news and the media tell me that the whole world hates America. That's what I heard. And that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught by my teachers too. Yep. Except when I went over in different parts of the world, when I went to South America and I went to Southwest Asia and I went to, parts of Europe, this and that, it's not about that at all, So I got to see what the truth was. Not only that, being privy to some of the information that I was privy to kind of pulled the curtains back. And I said, oh, there's a whole new world behind these curtains that's operating in a completely different way. And they actually need our approval to be able to push this stuff through. So that's why they're willing to lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, psyops, anything they can to get our approval so they can do their dirty work, man. So yes, the answer is yes, Academaciated.
Very good. Very good. Academaciated. Well, folks, this is another stream about the running of the bulls. Do not be distracted by the bull that's happening out there, right? There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of lies. Brandon's talking about waking up from those and seeing those. You've already seen the light, in my opinion, because you've seen that there is a future that doesn't have to be about extraction and scarcity. It can be about abundance, but it comes through considering others in addition to ourselves and caring for one another. Imagine a future where the only way you can win is if you help other people win. And Brandon, that's one of the greatest things about you and what you've done on your channel and what you do every single day is that you are out for people winning, even if you don't tell them that. I can sense it, my friend.
Sorry you sense that. It's wrong. You're dead wrong.
That's right. That's right. Folks, thanks for joining the Pulse today. My name is Matt. This is Brandon from Rags to Riches. Make sure you tune into him. He'll be going live later. And looking forward to you talking about that gold-backed stablecoin with Walrus. That's going to be really cool. But folks, we are on the doorstep of the Pulse chain launch, and you can tell it's getting closer here. When you see that V4 and they do the next, the next release, we're right there. It's moments away. Thanks for joining the Pulse today. Do not mess with Texas. Take care, everybody.